Hello. Today I'd like to read to you from one of my favorite books, Unlikely Heroes, about animals doing amazing things. This story is about dolphins. It's called The Lifeguarding Dolphins, and it takes place in New Zealand in 2004. Let me start out with a little pro-shark message before dipping into a scary shark story. Sharks are incredible, stunning, and awe-inspiring animals. Typically, they're not interested in humans, and only rarely do they kill people. No, more often than do large animals on land. Think elephants and hippos. Many times, if a shark bites a person, it then lets go, as if realizing it made a mistake. But sharks are predators, and they aren't shy about it. And sadly, there are cases of human versus beast that end badly. New Zealand's waters house lots of hotspots for these marine predators. Aware of the potential danger, New Zealander Robbie Hose was taking great care back in 2004 as he led a small group of new lifeguards from the Wangari Heads Surf Life-Saving Patrol at Ocean Beach on a long ocean swim to improve their strength and build their confidence. They were about 330 feet offshore and planned to swim just over a half mile from one end of the beach to the other. Robbie's daughter, Nikki, then 15, was one of the student lifeguards, along with two of her good friends, Karina and Helen. The group started out together, moving at a good pace, but before they could get far, they realized they had company. The fin came out of nowhere, and the girls panicked for a moment, but I quickly worked out it was a dolphin, recalls Robbie. It turned out that it wasn't just one animal, but a whole pod. They surrounded the swimmers and moved along with them as if part of the team. Although not an everyday occurrence, we'd certainly swum with dolphins before. We often interact with them, Robbie says, so there was no reason to be surprised or afraid. But about 20 minutes into the joint swim, Robbie recalls something strange happening. The dolphins' behavior changed. They started packing in very tight around us and then hammering the water with their tails. They were quite close to us. We could have reached out and touched them. As they hammered away splashing, the swimmers felt the dolphins' agitation and wondered what was going on. Robbie decided to move away from the circle to figure out what was upsetting the dolphins. So he kicked hard and managed to separate himself, swimming about 30 feet. Helen, wanting to stay with her instructor, decided to go with him. The largest dolphin in the pod broke from the rest and swam straight for Robbie and Helen. It dove down right in front of them and turned Robbie. That's when I saw a dark shape in the water arcing around us, fast, at 90 degrees to the dolphin, he says. My whole body contracted in some sort of primal defense mode as I realized what it was. It was a 10-foot great white shark. Robbie saw right away that the dolphin's maneuver had kept them from being attacked by this predator and had also put the dolphin at risk. My guess is that the shark saw we were vulnerable and was taking the opportunity to come after us. And the dolphin figured out what was happening and dove in front of us to divert the shark from its course. But the predator wasn't quite finished with its rounds, and with just its head and shoulders above the water's surface, Robbie couldn't follow the shark's movements for more than a couple of seconds. That was long enough, though, to know it was heading towards his daughter, Karina. It was one of those situations where time seemed to stand still, he says. Before he could react, the dolphins around Nikki and Karina went ballistic, spinning and splashing and beating their tails, and then suddenly, everything died down. They'd scared the shark away. It was gone. At this point, Robbie was the only person in the group who knew that the great white had paid a visit. People on the beach who had seen the activity thought the swimmers were frolicking and playing with the dolphins, not having a near miss with a shark. He saw no reason to scare the others, so as the group traveled back to the beach, he kept the news to himself. It turns out that dolphins naturally ball up in a tight group as a defense mechanism, and the tail slapping is a warning sign to approaching predators. These were telltale signs that a shark was about, Robbie says. I guess if we'd known that, we might have realized sooner that we were in danger. But maybe they were better off not knowing, he says. We might have reacted badly, trying to swim to shore, splitting up. This was the dolphins, the way the dolphins kept us together and did the work of scaring the predator away. And though the dolphins were acting naturally, Robbie felt that they were deliberately including the swimmers in their circle, keeping them safe. Certainly, the breakaway dolphin had chosen to help. Robbie didn't tell his students the truth until the next morning, after they were back in the water, he says. No doubt, every passing dark patch was anxiously scrutinized that day. Before the big reveal, I had no idea, Nikki admits. My friend and I just thought the dolphins were crazy. We were so caught up in their behavior that we didn't know anything about the shark. I would have been so scared if I'd known. Why did the dolphins intervene on the swimmer's behalf? Robbie suggests it's because of positive past experience with people. These pods are regular visitors to Ocean Beach. They interact with us playfully, but we are also respectful of their space. And we don't pester them. Maybe they see us as extended family of sorts. Says Nikki, it definitely helps to know they're out there. On a little side note, there's a bubble about great white sharks. Adult great whites can swim more than 40 miles per hour. Unlike other fish, sharks don't have swim bladders to help them float. Instead, their large livers, filled with fats and oils, give them buoyancy and keep them from being bottom dwellers. There's a lot more stories in this book, so if you're interested in hearing another one, I'd love to read it. Thanks.